Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we've moved into February, so that means we had the end of month batch for January with Lilith and Bonney, and that means it's tier list time. So in today's video, we're breaking down all of the Sugo Fest exclusive characters, putting them on a tier list for you guys for your sort of mid-game area, for how good these characters are in the entire game. So that's talking anything from Recollective Archive, PKA level up to level 100 and 150, like 100 plus to level 150, I should say. PvP is kind of its own entity, but it does come into this a little bit in Grand Party. I'd like to do my own tier list for them, but still leveling up a character does affect their PvP stats, so having a character high on tier list can be good for PvP as well. Looking at stuff like Treasure Map, Kazuna 10-star, Kazuna Super Boss, big damage output, the speed of the unit, the versatility, their classes, all that kind of stuff. Now, at the moment, the class ranking for me is kind of like Free Spirit and Slasher at the top. You then got like Strikers and Powerhouse. Then the bottom four, you're looking like Fighter and Driven are kind of there. And the bottom being Cerebral and Shooter. But Cerebral's getting a lot of love with the release of this new Lilith, and with us moving into Egghead, there should be a lot of very, very good support for stuff like Int and Cerebral that's coming up too. Int's struggling quite a bit, so those types of units do sit a little bit lower as of January of 2024, but if you enjoy the tier list, make sure to go down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. If you guys agree with anything, let me know down below, but just remember, this is my personal opinion, it's quite subjective, obviously. So if you guys agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know too. With that said, let's dive into the tier list. So here we go, we've got our last month's tier list. Now, before we dive into the new characters, being Lilith, Bonney, there's the 6+ Kaido, and then the Onsen Luffy, I believe, as well, that we do need to put on this particular tier list. I do want to do some changes and move some characters around. So first of all, looking at this God tier rank, for new players, like, these characters are fantastic. Now, for endgame players, not so much. Grand Voyage is another thing that I forgot to mention. But I do want to sort of change this to a top 10. I think top 5 is just... There's not enough units up here in the top 10. Sorry, in the top 5, just to sort of segregate everything. But for newer players, Nami... new to mid-game players. Nami Karina is a fantastic unit. I will definitely have them at the back end of my top 10. This particular Zoro, I feel like, is very, very good for most players. If you don't have Zoro Sanji, you are still using these characters. They're great for big damage teams. They're great for getting around utility and stuff like that. As for another character I would put up there, I'm going to put this Uta up here. She's kind of carrying Int and Cerebrals at the moment. But obviously there are a lot of very good units that can still work alongside her. You've got this Kaido. Definitely want to have this Kaido up here. He's very, very, very good. And then just with Slashes being as good as they are right now, I think Roger and Odin is probably my 10th unit. 1, 2, 3... 6, yeah, 10. So this would be my top 10 for now. Probably have Zoro towards the back end. For newer players, he's a bit harder to use. Like, Luffy Yamato is still really good. This Yamato is great for speed teams. But the God tier does look absolutely fine, in my opinion. As for here, I'm definitely going to bring Law up. I think the Law is definitely meta with how well he works with Yamato, giving that increased damage taken buff, and then the super type buff too. He's fantastic. He's so freaking good. As for Otama, I'm going to bring Otama down. I still think she's very, very good. I just don't really see where she kind of fits in. As for this Luffy, I want to bring this Luffy up. He's fantastic for newer players if you can get your hands on him. Very, very good unit. Robin, I'm going to move towards the back end. This Ace is kind of whatever. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the rest of it there. As for these subs, I'm going to move Momo up. Momo has shown he's just goddamn worth the last couple of PKA season, Super Boss, all that kind of stuff. Anyone else? No, I'm pretty happy with all the rest of them. They all seem pretty fine. K-Dad's getting a huge buff with Slashes. You're moving towards the back end just because we have so many Straw Hats. Momo's like a must-have for most new players. He's just so freaking good. This Yamato, she's great, but she's more built for like high damage teams, kind of like what Robin's doing here. Honestly, for like most players, like newer players, like she's kind of down here, to be honest. If I'm being completely honest with you. But like she's still very, very good. This Yamato doesn't really see too much play anymore, but she definitely can. Especially with all the new Yamatos we've got. This Luffy's more been replaced by other Luffys, I should say. I think Green Bull isn't super good, but like he's still okay. But basically, if you guys are new to this tier list, my top 10 is obviously the top 10. God tier are like your next echelons of characters. So if you have any of these units from top 10 to meta, I would definitely level them up, get them maxed out and stuff like that. S tier captain, these are all pretty much just like your best captain options. You're mainly using them as captains for particular pieces of content, whether it be speed farming like Cat Dog or using them for Grand Voyage and stuff like that. S tier subs, these characters are all sort of finding their way on a team as a substitute, or a sailor. They're very, very good. Odin and Toki is definitely going to come up into meta though. They definitely showed their worth in the 10-star Kazuna, as well as the Super Boss. Slashers at the moment are just so good. Like, and if you're a slasher, you're already winning. So I'm going to put them up into meta. They definitely need to be increased. Hiyori's a great sub. Yeah, everything here. This tier here, if people get confused too, says LLB is level limit break. That basically means that you need 9 copies on top of the unit that you have to get the unit to its fullest potential. So just be mindful of that. That's why I have my own tier for them, because these characters are all very old and they're all the best that they can be if you have those 10 copies. PvP focus, these units are all basically used in PvP. Some of them are very, very good, some of them are very, very bad, but like at the same time, I just want to reiterate that I've made this tier because these units shine most in that game mode, and that's why you should max them out. Again, I always like to do a PvP tier list, so make sure to check that out too if you guys want to head over there and see what's cooking. As for everything else, A-tier subs, yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything here. These characters here are literally just support units. You're not going to really use them for anything else. Grand Voyage stuff like Brook is very, very good, but again, this is more your mid-game sort of area. This Kaido, obviously, we're going to take him out because we do need to add the new Kaido as well as the Onsen Luffy as well. And everything else just seems pretty fine to me. So let's quickly do that. Alright, so we're going to start it off with Onsen Luffy, the treasure map legend, to come right smack bang in the middle of New Year's. Now, I do have a feeling that they are going to basically give us a treasure map legend every single time there's a treasure map now. They've stopped doing 5-star artworks, so it just kind of makes sense to me that they are just going to be doing this. This unit's actually pretty decent. He's not a terrible unit. He's very, very good in Grand Voyage. He kind of has the ability to just remove like 18 turns of Special Bind. As a captain, he's Super Type, Super Type will remove 6 turns of Special Bind. You can auto-proc his special when you're 30% below. He does stuff with Rainbow Orbs, and he's kind of that final piece of the puzzle for something like Zoro and Sanji. Now, Zoro and Sanji, for like endgame players, in my opinion, is like one of the best units in the game, or the best unit in the game. For newer players, still very, very good. And if you like get a lot of copies of this Zoro Sanji, and then you have this Luffy as a sub, or as a friend captain, you can do some really, really nice things with his super tandem, and then having the Yamato and whatnot too. So he's a really nice fit to the final piece of the puzzle that is the Zoro Sanji super tandem. But other than that, he's not really providing all that much. You really want to use him as a captain to get the full potential out of him. As a sub, he can be an attack booster, he can be a color affinity booster, so the versatility there is quite nice. Getting Rainbow Orbs is great, but I just don't really see where you're going to be using this Luffy over something like this Luffy if you're a newer player, this Luffy Yamato, Gear 5. The amount of Luffys we already have in this top echelons doesn't radiate what this Luffy's doing. But if you do need some special bind stuff, and you want to bring a Luffy, he's going to be your man. But you just have other units that can just do it better. Like Ace Sabo does it better. This Uta does it way better. And as a sub, the unit doesn't really provide too much. Doesn't mean he's bad. He's got some pretty good multipliers, 5.75. Very nice attack multiplier for Quick Free Spirit, which obviously Quick Free Spirit is very, very good right now. And yeah, you can do some stuff there. But again, I'm just not a huge fan of what the Luffy's doing for regular content. In a nutshell, that doesn't mean he's bad. I don't think he's a bad unit at all. I just think that he kind of came out unnecessarily and didn't really need to be a legend. But like I said, I have that feeling that we're going to get treasure map legends like every single treasure map. Next, we got the Beast. The Beast is back. 6+ Quick Kaido. Now, I will be the first to admit that I can't stand this unit, bro. But his 6+, or his 6+ is nasty. His 6+ is very, very good. Very, very nice indeed. However, for myself, I'm mainly just using him in PvP. I think this unit is just like a real good PvP unit for endgame players. Really good at demolishing the strength team. He goes on that driven powerhousey kind of build that you've already got rocking for anti-strength. And if you guys have this guy 6+, he's going to be a very good addition. On top of that, he's got like the highest attack stat in the game. He's a great support unit for stuff like King and Queen and all those types of characters. But he did get a very interesting special upgrade. With his special, he now does increased damage taken that goes through full immunity. And if you have increased damage taken, he's a conditional boost for that increased damage taken at 2.5, I believe. It's something ridiculous. He also gives himself a 1 orb. He gives matching orbs. As a captain, he still has that ability to proc his special after 10k. And with the help of that new Alba, this character is actually very, very good in regular play. I don't really think that you're going to be using him too much as a newer or a mid-game player, just because he's a bit wonky in the sense you have to take damage and all that kind of stuff. But the combination of him and Kainu, where you do take damage, you apply the burn ability, and then you can auto-proc on the next turn of this unit, is actually so damn powerful for newer players to just sort of board wipe content. If you're going into like Garbage Challenge 10-star for a new unit, like a new player, you manage to pick up this guy like from the Kazuna and you just started kind of thing, he's going to be your man. If you get Kainu, you bring this guy as a friend captain, you're going to do some really, really nice stuff. However, most of the time you're going to use him as a captain. You do want to have the level limit break to make him very, very strong. He now buffs Driven on top of Quick, and he's still the super type Quick. So you can do some really nice stuff with the character. He's a very, very powerful unit, but again, I think most of his worth is going to be shown in PvP. And if you are a newer player, you probably don't even have him. If you're a mid-game player, then just enjoy him. He's a very, very fun unit. Moving on to the end of month batch now, though, this is where things start to get a little bit spicy, because now we're into Egghead, and the first two legends that they did release is a Lilith and a Bonney. Now, I did manage to pull Lilith, and I've been having a lot of fun with her. She's very, very good. Ability to remove Despair in her special, attack down in her special. She gives end of turn damage at the start of the quest, so you can't really stall with her as captain. But she gives you so much power that doesn't really matter too much. She's definitely a god tier unit. But the big upside to the unit herself is she has the ability to double stack attack boost. She's the only character in the game that can do it. As long as your captain is cerebral, she will then reduce your attack boost by 1 time. So if you have a 3 times attack boost, she'll bring it down to a 2 times attack boost, allow it to be overwritten, and then with her super class, she can actually give you a 2.75 to 2.5 times attack, depending on your int cerebral team build and whatever you're doing now. On top of that, she's a 2-turn orb booster as well, so you can get 2-turn bursts. Again, she has end of turn damage, which is great at getting around resilience. She's a very strong captain with her captain multipliers. Plus, she has versatility with buffing not only cerebrals, but she buffs shooters and the int typing. So very, very powerful stuff. She's a very, very, very good regular play legend. I definitely wouldn't chase her, and for like newer players, she's kind of at this back echelons, purely because her typings are pretty weak. She doesn't have any utility in her captain, but that doesn't make her bad because she has a lot of utility in her special. But the upside to the unit really is that double stacking attack boost. If she had better sort of classes and colors, and I imagine over the next couple of months with the other Egghead units that we will get, other Vegapunks and stuff like that, she will see a rise on the tier list. But for now, I'm going to stick her in God tier because I definitely can see the potential. Having a lot of fun using her with stuff like Corazon and Law, seeing a lot of fun with her with Uta. And being a superclass unit makes her very, very strong as well. Her superclass condition kind of sucks though. Full team of cerebral units or a full int team. Kind of a little bit segregated in what you're building for. But that doesn't mean it's not attainable, because you can just build like mono class teams very, very easily. Next we got Bonney, and Bonney's actually really interesting. I actually really like the design of Bonney. I haven't had a chance really to play around with her, but she's very, very good. She can make recovery orbs, which is obviously very, very good for this PKA. But she has the ability to remove bind and paralysis, I believe. But the big draw to the unit is she actually gives another buff, which is a weakening buff. Now, the weakening buff does seem very, very good. It does seem very similar to increased damage taken. Then she gives you a conditional boost to the increased damage taken and the weakened buff. If she's a captain, she gives you a 50% resistance drop for int and psi characters. So I think she's an int and psi booster as well with her captain ability, but she's not actually cerebral. So it's kind of weird how she fits in with the meta of the Egghead units, but I definitely see the potential of what's going on with this particular character. She's very, very good for big damage output. She does have some very nice utility in her special, but I feel like most of the time what you're going to be using this Bonney for is just that damage output of her kit. She doesn't really provide too much extra. I don't know if it goes through full immunity. I haven't had a chance to work around with her, but I do think she's fallen into the meta, and I think she's a very, very good unit, and I can see what they want to do with this unit, giving more conditional buffs and stuff like that. So that's the two new units. Both of them are very, very good. I definitely wouldn't chase them. I think if anything comes off a regular ticket, try not to summon. If you want to summon though, I ain't gonna tell you not to. But when those big celebrations come around and they're on every single banner, that's when you sort of got to weigh it up. But seeing what they've done with this Momo, and they have literally not put this Momo back on any other banner, just is mind-boggling to me. Yeah, just kind of is what it is. Something I do want to do before we wrap up is I do want to drop Roger down to S tier captain. Roger's definitely seen his time in the sun. Ace Sabo still very, very good. And Ace Yamato, I think I'm going to drop them down to meta as well. Nah, you know what? I'm going to drop these guys down to meta. Just like Luffy, like this is just a really good new player unit other than that. But that's going to wrap it up the video. We have our top 10 there, sitting nice and strong. We have our God tier under that. Basically, if you have any of these characters in these top 2 tiers, just max them out. Like they're all fantastic units. You're going to see a lot of play with them. Meta is very, very strong. But remember, every character can do basically everything in the game with the right amount of investment. But you want to try and use your investment wisely, especially if you are a newer player. But if you enjoy the video, make sure to go down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button for me, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Let's... Lol, before I go, I do want to bring this unit up to S tier sub. Slashes are good, man. Slashes are very, very good. Don't discredit the slashes.